Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back on the Uncle Sham channel. How are you guys doing? Hope you are doing very, very well on this Friday evening. Hope you guys have all finished work. Work is the reason why I was late. Apologies to the people that were waiting. I initially set this for 6:30, but then this work call overran, so I had to delay it by 15 minutes. So thank you if you waited around or if you were swearing at me for being late. I apologize. But it is what it is. Yeah, Inter versus Cremonese. Sorry, Cremonese versus Inter. Away game against the bottom of the league team. So surely we're expecting 3 points, right? Even with all the stuff going off the pitch, going on off the pitch. Cremonese, where are they? All the way down there. Look at that. Really, really bad. Not the worst defense in the league, surprisingly. That's actually Salernitana, but yeah, bad numbers all around. But actually, when I watch Cremonese play, they're actually a decent team. So I don't think it's going to be as easy as it looks on paper. But anyway, let me give a shout out first to the people in the house. Thank you for the people that waited around. Kura Black, 3 points, I beg. I mean, remember, guys, at the beginning of the month, beginning of January, we were like, you know, there's some tough games in between, like the Milan derby in between, but this is a month where we expect 3 points in each game, so 15, 5 out of 5 games really should be with Inter. And of course, Inter being Inter, it was not, was it? It was not that easy. Our record this past month, obviously, Empoli ruined everything. It started off brilliantly with the 1-0 win against Napoli, and we were like, after this, you got Monza, Parma, Verona, and Empoli. This should be, and the Cremonese now, it should be 5 out of 5. And obviously, it was not to be. So pressure is on Inzaghi and the team to get the 3 points tomorrow. There's no excuse. There's no, there's nothing. There's nothing that we would allow anything other than 3 points tomorrow. Future Hendrix is afraid of the Inzaghi kryptonite, small team, and it's away. Yeah, I mean, this season I'm not as confident. Last season and coming into this season, I was really confident with smaller teams, but with Inzaghi. But there seems to be like a step. But yeah, I just don't know anymore with Inzaghi's Inter. It's just a very inconsistent, unpredictable team. Like you don't know how they're going to play defensively, how solid they're going to be in the match, how much of a killer instinct they have in each match. Is just a very hard team to read. Too many. I think the best way to describe Inzaghi's Inter is kind of is a roller coaster team. It really is back to being the Pazza Inter that we remember from, worse years. People are talking about banter era, but it is kind of reminiscent of those types of teams. And yeah, as Anthony says, you don't know whether it's going to be Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde, or Dr. Jekyll. But you just don't know which Inter you're going to get, and that's it is on Inzaghi, the fact that he's not able to maintain a nice level, a nice consistency, which is funny because he's more, compared to Conte, Inzaghi is a much more level-headed coach, person, press conferences, remarks, like he's just very much, balanced. Whereas Conte as a person, and he's all over the place. He's the roller coaster, but he's able to maintain his team to be able to be more consistent. But yeah, it's definitely something that we're seeing Inzaghi still struggling to do at a big club like Inter, stepping up from Lazio. But then at the same time, we're going to talk about it. All the off-field stuff isn't helping him, is it? It's not helping him one bit. Ahmad's Friday night tradition. He's told me before we went live, he's got his glass of wine, classy guy, watching Uncle Sharma whilst sipping on his wine, previewing Cremonese. Time to give Cremonese the first win. Have they not won a game? Jesus. I didn't even notice that. Let's have a look quickly. Cremonese. Where did it go? Oh, yeah, here. Oh, yeah, 0 wins. So they're still winless. That is crazy. That reminds me of, what was it? There was one team that came up a few years ago. And they were awful. It was like Benevento. They were so bad. But it's surprising, as I said, like Cremonese are actually not, in terms of when you watch them play, they're actually not that bad. They create, even against us when we beat them 3-1 at home, they weren't that bad. But yeah, they're just not able to put the ball in the back of the net, clearly. Eduardo, we're going to lose after what has happened again with negativity, thanks to our wonderful management. Well, just how we said, Empoli game, we wouldn't be surprised if Inter won. I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow in terms of, how this Inter team has been this year. It's like it almost needs to be slapped in the face. They need that slap in the face to wake up, it seems, this Inter team. So I wouldn't actually be surprised at this one we actually turn up and put Cremonese aside quite easily, as we should have done against Empoli. You just never know with this Inter as we're talking. I'm confident Inter going to win this one, Antonio says, but I'm very concerned about the future of this team. Yeah, no, it's, you guys know me, how long I've been running this channel now, over 2 years. I've been talking about the negative prospects with Suning for a long time. It's the reality of our situation, and I don't blame people that are worried, because it is a very worrying situation, and we're gonna, as long as Suning stay as our ownership, we're not gonna go upwards for sure. It's just the whole point now of management is to try keep us where we are, and that's gonna get harder and harder as you have to continue shedding. Like, we have to, just every summer we're gonna have to shed Skod Quast, as in Skod. Oh, I can't speak. Squad cost, in terms of salary, in terms of amortizations. That's why you keep hearing these Brozovic rumors, all the higher earners. That's why Skriniar wasn't offered anything above 6.5. We're still probably our squad actually probably costs too much in terms of what they actually do on the pitch. So that's going to keep going down. Transfer fees, the transfer market budget is close to zero, or actually minus 60, or depending on whatever next summer's objective will be. It's a very, very concerning situation, and just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, because there's just no concrete buyers or people getting anywhere near the asking price of 1.2 billion or whatever the asking price is. It's just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But hoping that something comes through, and hoping at least Steven Zhang and Suning budge on the asking price. And yeah, top 4 is definitely. I'm glad that at least that no one's gonna be talking about Scudetto anymore now after the last game, because I mean, only the most positive Inter fans were talking about Scudetto, but at least now that's put to bed now. We are not in a Scudetto race, guys. We are in a top 4 fight, and it is a dog fight at the moment. It is made slightly easier by Juventus going out of that, thanks to the prosecutors in Italy, but it's still very, very close. I'm still confident that we'll make it to top 4, but it's not going to be a walk in the park for sure. But of course, Mattia, the ever negative, he's probably going to say we're finishing 6th or something. If Asllani doesn't start one Inzaghi out, well, you want Inzaghi out then, because I can tell you now he's not going to start Asllani. 99% sure. No, I mean, that's, even if that happens, Eduardo, even if Juventus wins Europa League, they're gonna. That's the thing. Juventus fans keep focusing on the now, as in like the punishment they've been given now. Brother, you need to focus on the other 3 investigations plus the UEFA investigation. UEFA are probably going to ban them from Europe, even if they win the Europa League. Actually, it'll be funny, because they'll probably get that Europa League taken away from them. They won't be allowed to participate in any UEFA competitions, at least for a season or 2, by the looks of it. So yeah, you don't really need to worry about the second part of that, because yeah, even if they go to UCL, they won't be allowed to partake. And then, yeah, I mean, us leaving the top 4, then we're in big, guys. We're in such big trouble if we don't make the Champions League. Then I don't even want to actually speak about it. But Eric, you're not going to change a person. Like, it's fine saying that, but that's the guy we've signed up. That's the type of personality he is. He's not gonna be the sergeant. That's those. Everyone has personality types, and he's not that personality type. Which is, we said, does he? Inter, you probably have to be that guy. But at the same time, I continue being disappointed in these players that need some guy to be shouting at them all the time. Very, very weird to me. Silvio, what's up? It comes to a point where we need to think we'll get W versus Cremonese. This is embarrassing. Well, I mean, it's. I'm pretty confident about getting a W against Cremonese. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, we're just like, it's such a, like, even us as fans, we have to admit, as fans, we're just as bipolar as Inter. It was only a week ago, guys. We smashed. Like, I know it feels like it was a month ago, but it was literally 1 week ago. We smashed AC Milan in the Super Cup 3-0, and it was only not even a month ago that we beat Napoli. So we're just as bipolar as our team. I guess we go hand in hand with the perfect fit. So I'm confident about the win tomorrow, but I know what you mean. It's like after what's happening is now Empoli, you're just unsure what's happening. Matteo in the house. Skriniar. So let's talk about Skriniar. Thank you, Antonio. Your weekly therapy session. And yes, thank you, Mattia, for reminding the peoples about that. Let's talk about the Skriniar stuff quickly. Get that out of the way. What's the reports? Let's get some report up. The latest one on Sempre Inter. So Kimpembe is out of the picture, guys. Kimpembe earns more than 10 million or something. I looked up his salary, so even then it is not feasible. Kimpembe is a player I like. He's left-footed, most importantly, so he can't be the Skriniar replacement because he's very predominantly left-footed. Plays, when Paris obviously plays a 4, he plays left centre back, but if they play in the 3, he plays, the Bastoni role. So on the multiple level, he doesn't make sense. So Kimpembe is out of the picture. You just maybe Inter open some talks. They're talking to PSG. They will talk to them last summer. Like maybe there's some dialogue in terms of that, but he's definitely not the guy on multiple levels. And then Skriniar, I keep reiterating, I don't think we should sell him this month. I know people saying now, get rid of him. But I feel like it almost seems like we've not been through like a free agent situation before. It just seems like our fan base is not used to this. I feel like the red card really made things worse against Empoli. Like, I don't think the situation is this dramatic. Like, Skriniar hasn't fallen out with the coach. He hasn't fallen out with his teammates. Clearly there's a breakdown between Skriniar, his agent, and the directors like Marotta, Auxilio, and those guys maybe. But in terms of like he's not out of the project. He's not being unprofessional. I know, and some people are even saying that he did that on purpose against Empoli. Like, you could clearly see, he's human. He's been, affected by all these talks on off the pitch. We never see him getting a silly red card like that ever before. So it shows that it's not the usual Skriniar. And by the looks of it, Inter are not really keen on selling them either, because as I keep reiterating, okay, the Empoli game, he definitely didn't show it, but he still is our best defender, guys. As much as we might dislike him right now or feel bad towards him, he still is our best defender. In the absence of Brozovic and Handanovic, he remains the captain. They're not going to take, and people even say, take the armband away from him. They're not going to take the armband away from him. Against Cremonese, with him being suspended, obviously, it's probably going to be Lautaro as the captain. And as I always said, no one gave him the captaincy. There's just a hierarchy at Inter. Handanovic, Brozovic, then Skriniar, and then by the looks of it, it's the Lautaro after that. So, but obviously, if we're talking 20 million plus, if we're talking about 10, 15 million, then let's not even sit down and talk about it at PSG. Let him, and he obviously wants to go for free. Like, the guy's got 10 million or 9 million net lined up massive signing bonus. He doesn't want to leave in January because he wouldn't get that. So he's definitely going to push to leave in the summer. And then, PSG is them. I don't know. Does it really makes that much sense? I don't know, to buy him in January. And I saw they're also FFP. Oh, I mean, it's funny when you talk about it with PSG, but apparently because of FFP regulations, or like they wouldn't be able to actually make that signing and meet FFP. So yeah, there's this report here by Corriere della Sera, FC Inter News, says that Inter are not looking to accept any offers right now for Skriniar, and it is too late. It is too late to like. You need more time to potentially find a replacement right now or do something. So that's my opinion on that whole situation with Skriniar. And yeah, of course, tomorrow he's not going to be, reminder, he's not going to be playing tomorrow. Don't start conspiracy theories. He's suspended tomorrow. He's not being dropped. So yeah. Can this be a UCL? That's what I mean. Now we have our fans that are not confident about winning against the Cremonese, but then we have guys like Polly Edry here who are even questioning if it could be the year of the Champions League. So that sums up our fan base perfectly. What's the excuse there to play Gagliardini? I've given up on that. Sunit, we talk about it in our group chat a lot. I don't understand this, because you've got a guy that his contract is ending, and it's not like he's a key player. And I'm not gonna like shit on him right now. He's useful. He does what he does because clearly coaches trust him. There must be a reason. Conte trusted him, and now Inzaghi trusts him. So there is clearly a reason there, like whatever it is, tactical or whatever. But you've got a guy like Aslani who has been showing plenty whenever he comes on as a substitute, or starting when he started against Parma. So, and he's the future of the team. He's going to be obligation to buy. Like we've talked about this so many times. I really don't understand the obsession with Gagliardini. And then Sean brings up a good question. I saw this was going viral earlier. This list or statistic about Inter completing the least dribbles in Serie A, 3.58 per 90. You can see Milan and Napoli right at the top. And we are right at the bottom after Cremonese, Sampdoria. But the funny thing is, I've talked about this type of stat on my channel since Conte was there, because that's when I opened my channel, when Conte was here, and we've been bottom or around about 18th, 19th for multiple years. So this is nothing new. And people say, oh, this is like we sold Sanchez and Perisic. But the dribbles that Perisic and Sanchez did clearly never used to register as, because you have to think about like every one of these companies that records these stats, they could record them differently. Some of them register dribbles differently, but whatever Perisic used to do, those step over dribbles just to get a cross in, I don't think a lot of those were registered as dribbles. And Sanchez, some of his little spins on the ball, his 360 degrees spins, he go left, right, or like lose himself on the ball. Like we used to be bottom, so like not much has changed. I see people are going mad over this, or this is going viral again. This has been the truth with Inter for 3 or 4 years now and it is, I mean, it isn't the 3-5-2 per se, but a 3-5-2 formation is that's the limitations of a 3-5-2 formations. Is the dribblers are usually the guys on the wing, that's where the space is. The 3-5-2 usually means that your wingers are your fullbacks or wingbacks, and they're usually not dribblers. Whereas you can see Milan and Napoli 4-3-3/4-2-3-1 formations. They have an attacking midfielder, 2 wingers, plus a striker, plus fullbacks. The dribbling, there's more people who are comfortable to be dribblers. The Leaos, the Politanos, the Kvaratskhelia. And we, on the other hand, have Dumfries and Di Marco, who are, and Darmian, and Gosens. Like none of, I mean, it would be funny to create a dribbling challenge with these guys because they probably can't dribble to save their lives. Whereas you have a converted winger like Paris. Like that's the only way you're gonna get a dribbler in the 3-5-2 is either the second striker, or one of the strikers, really, or the wing backs, or one of the centre midfielders, which is also why I've been pushing for a few years to have a ball carrying midfielder. So those are the only places in the 3-5-2 you're gonna get that, and you can see that in terms of the formations here. Salernitana, they play a 3-5-2. Spezia, they play a 3-5-2. Sampdoria, I don't even know. Under Stankovic, they kind of switch in between, but theirs is like a 3-4-1-2, 3-5-2 as well. So you do see the trend there. Udinese are kind of the outlier there because they play a 3-5-2 just like Inter, but I guess Delufeu, Udoji, Pereira, like they must have a few guys that are the characteristics of the players they have in their 3-5-2 is different from ours. And then a lot of them are 3-4-2-1 because you have like that allows you to have two wingers behind the striker as well. So a lot of it is due to formation as well. But at the same time, the players have dictate that they just don't have, and it is a problem. It is a problem. We've seen that at the same time, the Inter, like even under Conte, with this problem, we still used to be the highest chance creation team in the league, and with Inzaghi, we're not that now, but we still are, second or third after Napoli in terms of chance creation. So we still do create chances, but it just narrows down the avenues that we can create chances with. So yeah, it's an interesting stat, but at the same time, I don't. It's, as I said, it's been going on for a while, so I don't see why today is going viral again, because it's been an ongoing issue with Inter, and it's a structural issue with Inter. And no more Bellanova slander. Yeah, again, as guys have said, like I've tweeted about it. I don't understand why this guy was booed. I mean, I understand, but I don't understand like why this fan base is always been like this. San Siro has eaten so many careers. I understand why Correa was booed. Like he's been booed for weeks and weeks now. Correa's time at Inter is over. The fan base just can't take him anymore. That's over. But Bellanova, a guy who has had combined, I think, 150 minutes in Serie A, is thrown in a situation by Inzaghi, which is his fault, not playing him enough earlier in the season, comes on, looks lost, doesn't help himself with that stupid pass at the beginning, but then just loses himself in that match, and the fans don't help him. I don't understand the point of booing someone like Bellanova. To me, it's just ridiculous. But obviously, you can disagree with me, but that's my strong opinion on that. I don't understand booing our own players. What's up, Nicola? Yeah, Aslani situation is annoying. Khalid says Sang needs to take the lost team. Future value looks bleak. Exactly. But at the same time, you can't. It's a difficult, guys. Like when you think about it business-wise, they have invested almost $1 billion into Inter over the last 7 years since they've owned Inter. So it's they want to get their money back. Oh yeah. Speaking on Gagliardini, I mean, this would have been my Scudetto, guys. Honestly, like if we got rid of Gagliardini, I would have been like, yeah, that's my trophy. That's my second trophy for the season. I have the Supercoppa and the Gagliardini out trophy. But jokes aside, yeah, it was a weird link because just as if we're interested in a player from Ligue 1 and only the Italian sources are talking about it, when it comes to this, none of the English sources have talked about it strongly anyway. I think there was a mention on Sky Sport of some sort of interest in England, but it's only the Italian sources that have talked about this. So if you haven't heard of it, Nottingham Forest apparently were interested in taking Bobby Gaggs in January right now, paying us actual money to take him, but it doesn't seem like there's truth in that. And yeah, I mean, his contract expires in 6 months, so there's not much point for him either. I think he'd want to stay until the end of the season, and he probably doesn't want to go to a relegation fighting English team anyway. He's probably going to end up in the Championship. But it would have been funny because Nottingham is only like 30-minute drive for me here in Leicester, so I could have gone to the Notts Forest stadium to abuse Gagliardini. I'm joking. But it was funny. It was funny. And if you guys saw on Twitter, I was trying to hype him up to the Nottingham Forest fans, but clearly he's not led anywhere. Just to one point, Max Cremonese have been my B team this year due to their color scheme. They're an awful color scheme. It was like gray and blue or something. I'm not a big fan. Adriel, tranquilo guys, estou aqui. What's up? I can't help but like watching the minnows. Fair enough. If you're one of those guys, minnows and underdogs merchant, no one on this team can take on a man. Exactly. Well, I was looking at the stats this year, and Lautaro has increased his number of dribbles, which is something I was criticizing him for. I made a video last season criticizing how there's been a drop off in Lautaro's dribbling and completion of those dribbles, but this year he's improved on that. He's gone back to his old levels, which is good to see. And it confirms, like last season, he was just looking heavy or sluggish. There was something wrong with Lautaro last season. He looks much better this season. Am I Inzaghi out? No. Talked about it often. Like, first of all, who are you going to get? He's managing this still. We keep talking about it. We can't continue criticizing the club and knowing that our financial situation is so bad, and also realize that Inzaghi is doing a good job with everything going off the pitch. He's managing the situation, but in the league, he needs to do better. Last year he bottled it, and this year we should have been challenging for the title, and we're not. So in the league, it hasn't been good enough. But Champions League he's been good, and in the other competition he has been good. And youth or bringing through and using the squad better, he needs to improve as well. But it is what it is. We know his limitations, and those limitations are still there. They're still there. Yunus Musa, definitely. Very, very interesting player. That is in terms of why we link with Kessie, that's the type of player we need. Yunus Musa is like a younger Kessie, but the problem is he costs actual money. But those are the types of profiles I want to see being linked with. Don't forget to like and subscribe, sir, but don't subscribe to this comment for sure. First half of the season, we couldn't beat big teams. We won against smaller ones. Yeah, it seems like we're reversing the trend now in this. Well, to be fair, we're still in the first half of the season, Luca, but I know what you mean before the World Cup break. Now, from tomorrow, we're going into the second half of the season. So tomorrow, we're starting from scratch in terms of this second half of the season. Dumfries. So it looks like, let's get into the I'm not going to stay on for too long more. Let's quickly go through tomorrow's predicted lineups. So Simone actually Inzaghi talked about, because they asked him why is Dumfries not been playing, and he's once again said that he's not been physically fit since returning from the World Cup, which again, it's interesting, but also shady, because it's like he's been on the bench, but he hasn't even got minutes recently. So is it, transfer market related, or, it does make you think twice. But again, he reiterated that it is physical issue. So Inzaghi doesn't usually lie in that way. He's not really like one of those well calculated guys who's, but at the same time, he's a yes man. So if he was told by Marotta Ausilio that, just tell the guys it's a physical issue, just say that. So it looks like it'll be both Matty Darms and Darmian starting at the same time, which is interesting. Matty Darms replacing potentially Skriniar, which I like. I've always talked about how I like Darmian in this position. I think long term, he is the D'Ambrosio replacement in that sense. He is that guy that you plug and play pretty much anywhere. But I think, he's much more solid defensively than he is going forward. So I think he's probably actually more useful there. Dumfries has been out of form, but at the same time, we need him to be actually back in form, not just for us, but for the transfer market. Like, he's the chosen one to be sold to Premier League clubs or whoever can offer us 30 million plus. So we need him to come back on form. And I still maintain, just as he was last year, on form, Dumfries still should be the starting right wing back, as much as Mr. Darmsey is reliable. 6.5 out of 10 all the time, Mr. Matty Darms, but Dumfries has the potential to give you those 7.5 out of 10 games where he dominates players physically and in the air. But hopefully he is back to full fitness now. Yeah, what the hell? I didn't even realize the predicted lineup has changed. DiMarco was in there when I was on it earlier and it's been refreshed. Oh my goodness, that is the clunkiest duo potentially we're going to see. Let's have a look what so Gazzetta still have DiMarco. Let me refresh this. Let's see maybe if they've changed it. No, so Gazzetta still going with DiMarco on the left, but interesting. Sky Sport saying Gostin starting. And yeah, you guys know, even at the beginning of the season, tactically and strategically, it doesn't really make sense to have Dumfries and Gosens. They're just not. They're too similar. They're very similar players. They're both useful in the final phase of play. If you're laying it off to them to cross it like first time, or couple of touches, cross it in, or getting into the box, trying to nick a goal with a header or flick on with a header physically, like that's what they're really useful. Whereas DiMarco gives you completely different, it gives you more build-up play, it gives you more technicality, crosses from slightly deeper as well, better, link-up play, set pieces as well. Dumfries and Gosens are too similar. But, he needs to rotate more. I've been talking about it a lot in terms of he needs to rotate a lot more. He needs to rest some players. Last year we saw this team was stretched too far. We can't compete on three fronts. We haven't got a squad to compete on three fronts. We saw it last year and we know it this year. Like, we already see Mkhitaryan looking tired. He looks tired already. Guys like Acerbi can't play week in, week out. DiMarco, we know he doesn't really have 90 minutes in his legs. Like, just physiologically, he's, after the 70 minutes, you can see he just doesn't have the legs to be going up and down the full 90 minutes. He doesn't have that Perisic athleticism. And Dzeko, like we know from last year, like you cannot burn him out. You see what's happening to Giroud at AC Milan. That's what happened to Dzeko last year, just getting burnt out. But then at the same time, Adriel, he tried to he tried to oh no, you're saying that Dzeko back in the lineup. Yeah, I mean, he tried to rest Dzeko last match, and then Correa just turned out to be absolutely useless again. So it's like he hasn't even been given the choice in that sense. But yeah, we're talking about in terms of Aslan, he should be definitely getting into rotation of the midfield, which is really, really annoying. It seems like Inzaghi is obsessed with using him only as a regista, but that's going to reduce his minutes so much because of Hakan stepping into that role. Whereas, we should be maybe putting Hakan back into his Mezzala role or putting Aslani as the Mezzala. But yeah, it's just frustrating. I really disagree with that option. Yeah, Denzel, you need to step up, bro. If there is a game where you get away with that clunky duo as this one, yeah, I guess, surely you should be able to beat Cremonese regardless of who you play, to be honest. We would have won against Empoli if we had rotated from the start. Everybody was tired. Yeah, but I mean, who else? Like, at the moment, he also has, okay, maybe he could have started Aslani in there. But he did rotate in terms of he put De Vrij in for Cherby. But the team just looked flat in general. And then after that, Lukaku's still not fit. Correa, again, he was useless. Yeah, maybe he could have started Gosens. Dumfries, I'm not sure if he's telling the truth, if he was unfit or not. So it's difficult at the moment because we have those injuries. Brozovic needs to come back. Lukaku still whatever's wrong with Lukaku. And then Barella's also, obviously we know Barella got himself the yellow card, silly yellow card, so he's suspended for this game as well. So yeah. Going back to Simeone, yeah, I've talked about it. Antonio, he's one of my favorite managers. Yes, he brings terrorist ball, but I think it's unrealistic. His salary, even if he drops his salary is scary, it's monstrous. So he needs to drop it. I think like not even a half. He needs to like reduce it by like 70% if he wants to come to Inter. So I just don't see it. And I think if he first we have to see if he actually leaves Atletico, because those rumors always come up with him and he never actually leaves. And if he does leave, I probably think he probably needs like 1 year off. Like every coach, you've seen how Spalletti came back to Napoli, I think Spalletti actually had 2 years. Well, no, 1 year off, did he? 2 years off, yeah. After he left Inter. You need to, regroup with your coaching staff, go out and learn, go to different training sessions. It's Allegri had his time off, like as Pep took a sabbatical after he left Barcelona. I think coaches, especially at this high pressure level, need like some time off, regroup, get ideas together, and then you can go like full energy. I want like Simeone to be ready for the Inter job after taking some time off. And yeah, finish off with predictions, guys. Get your predictions in the comments. We'll finish up now. Firmino rumors, yeah, I saw those today. He's going to be 32. He is a false 9, second striker. So only really useful in terms of if you replace Correa, but at the same time, his injury record has been very, very bad over the last few years. I spoke to a Liverpool fan earlier. He was telling me Klopp has burnt him out pretty much. What was his direct quote was, "Made out of crackers, Klopp abused his body." So yeah, he's got a very bad injury record. Doesn't score that many goals. He's kind of those like he's always played in the 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, either behind the guy. Yeah, like too expensive for his age. Like it's too late now to get a player like that. Like we need to step away. He would be like a Alexis Sanchez type of signing. Like we need to step away from those types of signings now. So I think we're going to be linked. The thing is, we're going to be linked with pretty much every free agent. You saw the Roberto Pereira link today coming out. We're going to be linked with like pretty much every free agent out there, because that's really how Inter have to do their transfer market. So yeah, I'm not a fan of the Firmino rumor. I like Firmino. I don't like Firmino, but I just don't see the fit with this Inter team moving forward now. We need different profiles. He doesn't add pace to this team. He adds creativity, goals here and there. Of course, technical ability is out of this world, but yeah, that's not the type of profile I want. If we can, like Marcus Thuram, I might curse it now saying it, but Marcus Thuram still looks like hasn't moved anywhere this January. Use that salary budget to try bring someone like Marcus Thuram to Inter, because that's the type of profile and characteristics we need. Okay, so predictions. Mattia, he's going for a 2-1 win, even though he continues to be negative, but then he predicts a win. Eduardo is doing his Mattia impression, either 1-0 or 1-1 at most. Christian Potato, 1-1. I am Nate says 1-1 and more pain. Oh no, Harry. Hope you're doing well, brother. Take care of yourself. Make sure you drink plenty of fluids. Take care of yourself, brother. Dumfries says 2-0. Hopefully he gets a goal. Matteo says 2-0. Lautaro double. That would be brilliant, because I have him on my fantasy Serie A team. It's bad when I'm the most confident one. Yeah, exactly. There's something wrong in the air. Something wrong. Hey, Otlo, my boy. Good to see you in the house. Give me your predictions before we leave, Otlo. 4-0 into Adriel says, Jesus. That's what I'm talking about. Our bipolar fan base. Edson says, please don't predict positively, because this Inter is so two-faced. That is true. But I doubt my predictions are the ones that lead us to 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 bad results. Well, I hope so. I hope not. Like Origi at Milan. Yeah, I mean, but Origi is not even old. Origi is just not that good. That's the problem with Origi. How old is Origi? Is that 27, 28? Yeah, he's 27. He's just, yeah. I mean, there was a reason why he was always a backup at Liverpool. He just isn't that good. He was always like a super sub. But yeah, again, that I guess that is kind of like a good comparison. I think he earns like 4.5 million at Milan, so he's like expensive for by their standards as well, and he hasn't really delivered. Yeah, Skamaka on loan again. Like we know, as soon as Skamaka left to West Ham, we knew that like next summer you could potentially try to get that guy back on loan. So I agree with Matteo. That's where I would try to focus our energy. Kulibaba says 1-0. Yeah, never around. We do like technical pace players. Alex says 3-0. Harry Dem says 2-1. So yeah, there you go. As usual, by the end of the stream, we all talk negatively, but then we end up predicting a win. Banter era is in the air, Eduardo. It is in the air. I cannot lie. 2-1 Inter, and it'll be very uncomfortable. 1-0 Cremonese last match. Nazario predicted 4-0, so I am anti-jinxing. Oh, so you're predicting a 1-0 Cremonese win. Okay. Shall we do that? Shall we try? Shall we do a collective anti-jinx? Shall we predict? Let's do it, guys. Let's predict a Cremonese win. I'm gonna say Okereke, and actually, what is the predicted lineup for? I didn't even look at Cremonese. A bit disrespectful of me. Oh, look, for my Inter youth player Benassi potentially starting, so he's the guaranteed a goal. So I will say Okereke, Benassi scoring 2-1 to Cremonese. I'm gonna do. Let's do it. Let's see if this works. I don't believe in this kind of stuff, but I'm gonna do it. I'm getting all the Neapolitan voodoo involved in this. Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Even like on paper, it's not even like a bad team. It's a decent team. It's a good goalkeeper. Kirkesh was at Sassuolo like for the last few years. Mate was at Benfica and AC Milan recently. Like, it's a decent team. It shouldn't be where it is. And actually we forgot, they've got Ballardini now, the escapist extraordinaire. Like, this guy saved Genoa so many times from relegation. Davide Ballardini. So they might have the new manager effect going. So yeah. Yeah, so let's do the let's go with a collective anti-jinx. Let's go. Radu comes on as a sub, saves two penalties. Oh, actually, Radu's been signed by Auxerre, so he's going to Ligue 1 now, to France. Now he's not at Cremonese anymore. But yeah, he would have been another one bringing us bad luck. Benassi long range winner for them. Yeah, that's more like it. Yeah, Barella is out. Tell Lukaku to anti-jinx too. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Mattia. You know how this works, Shama. This would be the time the jinx doesn't work. Yeah, Mr. Allen Poe, maybe. Down Kirikes from Sassuolo, a bogey team. Yeah, 5-0 Cremonese. Okay, don't exaggerate now. Now you're just being ridiculous. Now you're just like going overboard with it. I'm just seeing if I've missed any comments from you guys. No, I think I've got every comment. So yeah, I'm predicting a 2-1 victory for Cremonese. Let's see what happens. 5-3 Cremonese. That would be crazy. That would be one for the ages. One for the ages for sure. Let's see what happens. I hope. Yeah, I would like to see Gosens starting, to be honest. Let's put Dumfries and Gosens out there. Our two clunky wing backs. Let's see how it works. Let's overpower them. Let's cross an inshallah. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, good point, Victor. Let's see what happens with our cousins over the other side. I think they are playing Sassuolo. So now the main aim for the season is finish above Milan, finish top 4 and above Milan. Matches. So Atalanta have Sampdoria, so they in theory should have 3 points. Milan at home against Sassuolo. 11:30 kickoff on a Sunday. They can always be tricky. There could be some drop points there. Juventus against Monza should be 3 points. Lazio maybe. Yeah, there could be some good fixtures here, like Napoli and Roma playing each other. So this is a good weekend for Inter to, potentially create some gap at least between the other team. So let's see. Could be an interesting weekend. But anyway, see you guys tomorrow. Post-match reaction. 5 p.m. kickoff, by the way, guys. Don't forget, it's not a 7:45. It's not a late kickoff. It's a slightly earlier kickoff, 5 p.m. UK time for me, and whatever time it is for you. So make sure you don't forget. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. As always, appreciate you guys for coming through. Ciao ragazzi, forza Inter.